Two American scientists are lost in the swirling maze of past and future ages during the first experiments on America's greatest and most secret project, the Time Tunnel.
The Time Tunnel.
When I was a child, I was always fascinated by time travel. I always wondered what would it be like to go back in time, go forward in time, and to see how things really happened or how things will unfold. And when this show ran on TV in 1966 and 67, I was too young to be able to watch it, but there were reruns, which I then watched. I also was really enthusiastic reading a book by H.G. Wells called The Time Machine, published in 1895, so I was still very young then. In this book, somebody manages to create a machine, almost looks like a car, no wheels though. You sit inside and you put the kind of year that you want to go, and they go forward into the future, into the year 802,701. So way ahead in the future. Unfortunately, for all you tech people, no more technology left. People are back to living off the land. There's two tribes, one above and one below the land. So super interesting. So I was always fascinated by it, and I always wanted to see what it's like. Unfortunately, somebody, also German, Einstein, has taught us that time travel is not possible. I don't really understand why, but apparently it's not possible. So, so too bad, right? End of keynote. No, then I was thinking, if it was possible, where would I want to go? And because you can go in two directions, right? So one direction I would like to go is back into the past. And as you've heard, I've worked in the space for all my life. So I would like to see how the last big switch happened within the mobility space, which happened just over 100 years ago. So I'm sure you've seen this picture somewhere. Fifth Avenue, New York City, Easter morning, 1900. It's full of, you can't see it, but it's full of horse-drawn carriages. There's hundreds and hundreds of horse-drawn carriages, and there's one car, which is a bit pixelated, but believe me, there's one car. So I'm sure at the time, if you had a discussion, if you traveled back in time, had a discussion with the leading thinkers of the time, many of them would have told you, nah, it's not going to happen. It's a one-off, you know, yeah, one car, two cars and everything, but horses are much more reliable. They don't break down. You just need to feed them, and it's much better for the environment. I don't know whether they would have said that back then. But I'm sure many of them would have told you, nah, it's going to be like this forever. Because we are like that. We see something and we think, okay, it's going to be like this. But then only 13 years later, again, Easter morning, in 1913, you have another look at Fifth Avenue, New York City, and suddenly there's not just one car, there's only one horse. So everything has changed in only 13 years, and it was quite a radical change. And I think we're about to witness, or we're already witnessing, another radical change as far as mobility is concerned. And we're struggling with it. We're wondering, what should we believe? We're wondering, what can we do? We go forward, then we go a little bit back. The American president has some ideas about direction, where we should go, where we should not go. It'll be an interesting, I would love to be, I don't need time travel for that, I just need travel. I would love to be in the room when the two of them, him and Musk, are discussing e-mobility, right? Because in internal combustion engine versus e-mobility, I would love to have that, to be there and see that conversation. So we're again seeing a big change. So I would like to know, if I can go forward in time, where is this going to lead us? What's going to happen? What are the cities of tomorrow going to look like? What is the transport of tomorrow going to look like, right? Is it going to be some amazing place where we have self-driven cars and flying cars and I don't know what? Are we going to go to work with a drone? Like, I think they tried that out in Singapore, right? Some kind of people mover drone. Will we see sustainability in all kinds of travel? What kind of sustainability is it going to be? I would really like to know, not just because I want to buy some shares in some companies, but I would just really like to know. But unfortunately, we also cannot go into the future. Cannot go into the past, cannot go into the future. So all the time that we see is now. And if we're looking at the time now, it's not pretty. We're often stuck in traffic. Cities are suffering under congestion. Cities are now around the world charging congestion surcharge. A Singapore idea, right? ERP for the win. Why is that? Because there are too many cars on the road. In any normal country where you pay normal prices for cars and it's not regulated, it's just crazy, right? You go to Manila, you go to Jakarta, sometimes KL, it's just difficult. Also, if you're standing next to one of those highways and take a deep breath, also not something that I would recommend because it's probably not going to be super healthy for you, right? So something needs to change in this field. So what's going to change? Well, transportation, mobility is becoming more sustainable. So lots of brands are working on it, pretty much all brands who are already in this field, and they're thinking of ways of making their fleet more sustainable. And then they have beautiful campaigns. So I come from advertising, so I appreciate great campaigns. Some are, by the way, already doing it. Great. The ones that are doing it are not always getting credit from it. So if you look at this beautiful Mercedes-Benz campaign where they find the logo in nature, very smart, right? And talk about their EQ, their electric vehicle range, you would think everybody go, yay, another choice in the market, right? But for some people, it's not enough. Why? Because they're not changing 100%. They're just changing a part of what they're selling, and the rest are still internal combustion engines. Why? Because people are still buying those, right? In Singapore, in Europe, in many places, right? So even a beautiful campaign like that will find somebody who says, wait a minute, what are you telling us? Isn't that a bit of greenwash? So rather than nature or nothing, it's nothing or nature, stop the wash. And they're following cleverly, creatively, the same format and saying, hey, there's also your logo, but something's burning and it's not so beautiful and it's not such a brave new green world as you want to make us believe, right? And for every single beautiful ad, you have this kind of anti-ad. Also quite nice. Both, I think, are quite nicely done from a kind of creative perspective, right? So people are criticizing it and people are saying it's not enough. Yes, you're doing something, but it's not enough. Okay, so unfortunately, that's the climate we're facing right now. Then how about those that are saying, okay, I'm not just changing a little bit, I'm changing everything. I'm changing the whole brand. I'm repositioning the brand. I'm stopping everything I do. And then we're going to come back with 100% clean electric energy. If you do that, people still have something to criticize. So if you look at this, these beautiful cars, the future Jaguars, they made the step. They said, we're going to change completely. We're going to be a whole new brand, fully sustainable, fully electric. And we're going to tell the world about it. They showed this at, I think, was it Design Miami? They had a TV commercial out that talks about who they want to be, and still not everybody happy. And people still asking questions like our friend Elon Musk, do you sell cars? Because if you remember the commercial, it's about everything else, but there was no car in it because they were waiting to unveil the car. If you ask me, they waited a little bit too long between the commercial and the launch. So, anyway. But so even somebody who is changing completely is kind of not getting the credit that some people may say they deserve. Instead, brand consultants like me are talking about, oh, you forget about the brand and you're giving up on your heritage and all of that, which are all fair points, right? But it's almost like you can't win. Right? And going back in time, to something that Ping mentioned in her introduction, if we go back to San Francisco, summer of 2017. So I was working in Germany. I was in charge of kind of global creative for the Audi brand. And the task was to launch the first fully electric battery vehicle from Audi called the e-tron. That was the task. And it was going to be launched, and it was launched in 2018. So a year before, which was our usual kind of time frame that we had, a year before, my boss asked me, okay, come up with a campaign. Of course, we don't come up with campaigns, we have agencies, right? So I was thinking, who could be well suited to do that? So I was thinking maybe a US agency in San Francisco called Venables and Bell. So I told them, look, think about it. We're coming. You're presenting to us ideas. So we fly to San Francisco, beautiful early summer day, and we're sitting in their beautiful agency office. And before we see any creative work, we see just ideas. A strategic planner talks about the world and how it's changed, a little bit like me today, right? And he shows us the kind of horses versus cars, kind of Fifth Avenue picture, all of that. And he's kind of going on and on and on. And I'm looking out the window, and very much in the distance, I can see the Golden Gate Bridge, right? Must be an expensive office with this kind of view, right? And I'm thinking, what a engineering marvel it was at the time when it was built between 1933 and 1937. So back then, built something like that, which is still there standing strong, quite something. So I'm still thinking, I'm somewhere else. I'm still thinking, I'm kind of time traveling in my mind, right? Looking out the window. And then I hear something. I hear a line that he says. And the line is, electric has gone Audi. And I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean? And he says, look, it's not like Audi has gone electric. Because that was our dilemma, right? Our dilemma was, we're not the first. Our dilemma was, at the time, Tesla owns the market, right? Tesla invented the market. Right? So you ask anybody, I think still unfairly to this day, give me an electric car brand, they probably start with Tesla, right? It's changing. I'm looking at BYD. It's changing, right? But at the time, they owned it, so we were late to the party. So we were like, okay, we're going to say, Audi has gone electric? Like, okay, what took you so long? Right? So we were like, thinking about it. And then they said, no. The thought is, the idea is, you don't have to be the first to make an impact. You don't have to be the first to own it. You don't have to be the first to, you can just try to do it better. And many companies work like that. Right? They look at what's happening in the market, let others make mistakes, and then when something seems to be working, they jump on the bandwagon, invest a lot of money, and suddenly it's working. So it's not just a new electric car, it's 100 years of history that's going into it. And it's quattro four-wheel drive, and it's racing, and it's everything. So you get, yes, this specific engine, but you're also getting something that is rooted in 100 years of history. So we thought that's an interesting thought. It's not just Audi has gone electric, electric has gone Audi. So how do we tell that story about not being the first? We're using analogies. We're looking at other parts of culture where people were super successful in their field, but they weren't the first. And despite of that, they were leaders in their field. So we came up with this launch commercial.
Muhammad Ali did not invent the knockout punch. Elvis did not invent rock and roll. Salvador Dali did not invent painting. And we did not invent the electric car. No, we did it our way. We injected it with the Audi DNA. We challenge everything and relentlessly test everything. We've combined intelligent technology with white-knuckle performance and the experience that comes from over 100 years of punching difficult in the teeth. This is electric unleashed, taking on mud, snow, and mountains, with experience earned on the racetrack. This is full-throttled and fully connected. This is a new way to drive with high-speed charging capabilities and with the full backing of a global dealer network. This isn't just a new car. This is a community of like-minded doers coming together. This is electric, engineered to shake up the world.
So in 2018, this is how we launched it. This is the story that we told, basically turning a disadvantage into an advantage by finding an analogy in culture. So if you're not the first, doesn't mean you cannot go there. You just have to come up with a story that works and that connects with the people that you're trying to talk to. So thinking about the future, trying to travel into the future, would I still like to do it? I would still love to do it. But unfortunately, I can't. So I don't know about the cities of the future. Will they be like this? Will we have, flying cars, whatever? I don't know. But what I do know are just a handful, a few learnings out of this journey, out of this kind of mobility, sustainability kind of journey. So here are my learnings. Number one, tech keeps changing our lives in all areas, including mobility. It's constantly changing. Sometimes we see it coming, sometimes we don't. So recent change, nobody saw that coming, right? We think, oh, the US has got it, they own it, and AI is all about, and suddenly China comes around the corner with a platform that is, okay, politically a bit kind of, you need to think about what kind of questions you ask, but compared to the existing players in the market, often better and cheaper. So technology is always changing in mobility in every single part of our lives. And there's something as a fact of life that we need to be ready for. Number two, nobody knows the future. People will tell you they do, but ask them whether they manage the art of time travel, and they haven't. So it's just some kind of prediction. And we want them to be right because we want some certainty. We want to know what's coming. We can't. It's very difficult to project. As the Fifth Avenue example showed, people didn't see it coming, and then it came relatively quickly. So mobility is going to be sustainable. Is it only going to be electric? How about hydrogen? How about sustainable fuels? Don't know, right? There are many different ways of making mobility sustainable. Right now, it seems like electric, but then again, there's the whole question of where does electricity even come from, right? Does it come from a clean source or not? All of these kind of questions that we have. So if somebody tells you they know exactly what the future will be like, question them, right? Have a little question mark. Number 3, you don't have to be first, just be better. Sometimes we think we need to jump in and we're not ready. And I think in our esteemed audience, we have a good example where not first, but probably better. At least better as far as global sales figures are concerned, right? You're number 1 now, right? You've taken over Tesla. So think about an area that you want to go into. It may already be crowded. There may be some other people, but it's fine. Just think about how you can be different. It's all about differentiation. And number 4, talking on my own behalf in a way, innovation without branding is nothing. You need to brand your product right from the start. We had an earlier discussion about startups. You need to think about branding. You need to think about how are you different. You need to think about positioning. You need to think about design. Because if you don't, you can be the most innovative brand. You may not succeed. Remember this beautiful homegrown brand called Creative, who had more innovative, technically better players than the kind of iPods at the time. Where are they now? I think they still exist. I'm not sure, but they're certainly nowhere compared to the competition. Because the competition, Apple knew about branding. They knew about design. So unfortunately, our homegrown brand wasn't able to compete. Right? So basically, tech keeps changing our lives. Nobody knows the future. You don't have to be first, just to be better. And innovation without branding is nothing. And if we keep that in mind, I think the future that we don't know yet is nothing to be scared of. Because at every turn of the way, we have, when we thought, oh, it's terrible and the world is going to choke and whatever, something came up. Something new came up, sometimes, as they say in baseball, out of left field, which we didn't see coming. And it has completely changed the conversation. So I'm hopeful, I'm positive, and I can't wait for the future. So let's go. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jörg, for such an insightful keynote presentation.